Okay, now this week is a week which is a lot of activity is going to be happening. It's not a non-farm payroll week. Typically non-farm is the first Friday of the month. Friday this week lands on May, but it's not this particular week, so it's next week for non-farm. There are a couple of interesting things that are happening. You would have noticed pretty much Greece is still on the headlines for anything on the euro. At the moment, for the euro, Greece is in a position where it's facing many hurdles over the next coming months. There was the big meetings that Greece had on Friday. It had to face its creditors. Now, the next important date is the 11th of May, where it has to make certain payments, and it looks like it's probably not going to be able to make that payment. Almost everybody's expecting them not to make this payment, which basically means they will be applying for an extension. And so there's a lot of pressure still on the euro. Now, the euro is still doing, I guess, relatively well against the US dollar, but that comes on the back of the US dollar putting in a series of soft data. Now, this particular week for the US, the major emphasis that we should be concentrating on for that is basically the FOMC statement. Now, it's no secret that even as far as, say, 4 months ago, even December last year, that the US pretty much said we're doing very, very well and we would be looking at increasing interest rates. Now, consequently, the market has reacted on that. A lot has taken place. What's starting to happen, started to filter through over the coming months and weeks, was the timing of that interest rate hike. And that timing has been delayed due to soft data that has been produced from the US. Now, at the moment, the policymakers, they're very, very split whether to bring it forward for a June interest rate decision or whether they should be delaying for September. Now, hearing from a lot of CEOs and analysts who depend significantly on the strength of the US dollar for their businesses, a lot of them have even sort of taken the approach where they feel it's not even going to happen in 2015, and it could be as far as January 2016. Now, that seems a little bit far, but I'm just telling you what's out there, and these are people who do this for a living. What we should be looking for in this statement, and this is going to be the most important part, in the FOMC statement, if there is an indication of any of this, of what I'm telling you, where they could be, where the policymakers split in the timing of the interest rate rates, or whether they give an indication of a dovish type statement, what it will do almost immediately, it will send the US dollar downwards. Okay, because there's a lot of people who are already positioned into this, and basically they're hanging tight and they just want that news of saying yes, it's going to happen in June, preferably sooner, to send the US dollar forward. However, that has not been forthcoming, and if this statement gives any indication that they're still indecision and they're not sure and they're waiting and waiting for more data, it could send the US dollar downwards. Okay, so that one happens on Thursday morning, our time, 4 a.m. It's probably the biggest thing that, in terms of announcements, that's going to happen for this particular week. The other one, which is very of a lot of interest to me, is the Kiwi official cash rate and the RBNZ rate statement. Now, at the moment, they're of the opinion that they want to take some easing, all right? The timing is not 100% sure. Most analysts do not feel there will be a rate cut this week coming, okay? They don't really feel that. However, what's more important is the wording that they use when they give out this statement. They could, as an example, they could keep rates the same and in their statement give some kind of an indication that they're concerned with price ratings easing is still on their cards, and what it will do is it will shoot down that Kiwi dollar significantly. Okay, so if you get the perfect cocktail, now this all happens in the same morning, there's 3 hours apart, you get this one giving US strength and this one giving Kiwi weakness, you could see a 400 pip movement by the time you wake up on the Kiwi dollar. So if you like fundamental kind of trading, this is one morning where you really got to set your alarm, okay, and you got to get up and you got to play it based on the two statements. Based on the amount of data that is coming out for the US and the Kiwi dollar this week, our currency which is most dependent on data is going to be the New Zealand dollar USD. It also has trade balance numbers on Wednesday, and you can see all the US data, unemployment claims and PMI numbers as well. Aussie this week is going to be a little bit quiet. The only real data of significance is the China PMI numbers over here. That's probably going to be the biggest one on Friday. Okay, so the only other one that's in the back of my mind, and really only because at this current moment Mr. Abe is visiting the US, is just anything on the BOJ press conference. Okay, so that's the Japanese yen. Other than that, that's all I got for you on the fundamentals. Remember, as an exercise, if you ever up around about this time and you can get your head around the statements, you will see the behavior of the currency react as literally as it's been read out. Okay, alright, so let us bring the charts and let's see how this helps us on that. Let's start off with our Aussie dollar. Okay, Aussie dollar, we locked in this top line last week using that top level with a fractal, and at the moment what I would like to happen is I would like this candle right now, this is today's candle, I would like this candle to not break that, so stay within the boundary, finish down here somewhere, and then tomorrow try and take a trade down. Alright, now what I will have to do if we break, I will then have to adjust this line here to suit. So what I'm basically saying is this: I'm hoping that this candle here ends up being the high, leaving me with a fractal at the top. Then that would mean that this candle has finished somewhere in here. Let's just pretend it's like this, creating an inside candle situation, and then tomorrow morning, being Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. when we get the brand new candle, I am working with a daily candle here, I would be in a position that I could place a breakdown trade as such. Alright, so that's what I think, or actually that's what I want to happen. If this current candle does something like that, well then we have to reassess everything. For starters, this line's going to have to get readjusted and everything changes. Alright, so the Aussie is at the pinnacle of a trigger. We just need it to hold that level. Okay, so that's pretty much all I have on the Aussie dollar. Everything else doesn't really look good, so we're waiting and we are dependent on this particular candle. Alright, let me move on and go to the Euro USD. Any questions, just please type it in. Okay, Euro USD, let's have a look. Now last week we drew this, well actually we drew it 2 weeks ago, and we're still right in the middle. Okay, we're still very much in the middle here. The euro has been ranging in between here. Let's see what we can find. Let me just change time frame, see if we can see anything better. Bear with me one moment. Quick question. Did anybody trade the ABCD that we saw last week? It had started just a little bit, but it was A, B, C, D. We saw it around about here somewhere. Did anybody trade that? Can I just get a show of hands? Guys, I can't find anything on the Euro USD right now, so okay, nobody took that trade last week, thank you. Euro USD right now, we're right in the middle of that consolidation, and there's nothing really showing. There's maybe a couple of a little bit more aggressive trades, but they're really not worth the effort. So what we'll do on the Euro USD this particular week, there is nothing showing. It's going to be you're trading Euro USD more on the fundamentals as we spoke before. See if the US side comes good, we could finally get. If the US has that delay that I was talking about, and Greece just kind of keeps on doing what it's doing, we could finally leave this area out that way. However, we're a little bit far away from it. What you could do is set an alert over here and look for you want a clean candle to break cleanly, and then you might be interested in trading that way. We've already had 1, 2, 3. If we get US weakness, like starting to think that is the higher probability way that it could go, then this trade could pop up on your radar. Okay, but where we are right now, there's nothing there. We just have to keep a lookout on this. All right. Okay, let's move on and let's have a look at the next one. Let's have a look at the GBP USD. Okay, we drew this set of parallel lines last week, and we're coming up to the good bit right now. So I think we could get a trade possibly tomorrow or the day after. So what we're going to be looking for is it would be nice if this current candle just goes up a little bit more, something like that. Doesn't matter if it leaves us a week or something. And then tomorrow we get something underneath it, and then we're ready to go down. That would leave us a fractal on the top of that candle. So I'm talking about a daily candle here. So we are coming up to that hot spot. The trade that I would prefer is the one that I've just drawn in for you. It would be nice if this candle just goes up a little bit more, gets closer to that top line. Then we get an inside candle the following day, and then we're ready to take the trade. All right, now, quick question. What do we do if this candle, say for example this current one, finishes like that? Is that a trade? Are we allowed to take that trade? What do we think? Okay. Sean says yes, yes. Karen's is also saying that there was a T chaser on a GBP USD long. Okay. I can't change profiles on this particular. There's something wrong. I've got a bug on my MT4. If I do it, I think I might lose the class. So I won't change charts. But for those of you just check it. There could be one. If there is a T-chaser and we get a candle like I've drawn, it reconfirms it, and then that's a break outside of a channel. That would be an acceptable trade. Okay, so I just, however, well, yeah, this could match. This could match US weakness. So there you go. See what you think. I do prefer to try and bounce it back down. Okay, but both scenarios are legitimate. Whichever one shows itself, that's the one that we'll take. So that's GBP USD for us. Let me have a quick look on a 4-hour chart, see if there's anything different. No, it stands. Alright, so keep an eye. We're probably 2 candles away, and we're either going to get the setup down or the setup upwards. Yes, to answer the question, Bijan, if we get the break upwards and it's a clean break, yes, it's acceptable because these set of parallel lines are going in the downward direction, so the break up is okay. The one that we don't want is the break down, like out of this line here. Okay, this one here is a low probability trade. This one here is a much higher probability trade there. Okay, all right, let's carry on. Let's have a look at gold. Okay, gold is moving like in slow motion. Where we were over here, we got the break. It's come down. I would have expected it maybe. Oh, this is a tight one. Is anybody in this trade? Like it's moved nicely in our direction. The projected target is down there somewhere, or even lower there. That could be another 5 candles away. So, okay, Karen's short. All right, so you'd be up nicely on that trade. The pattern looked really, really good, and it's still good. It's just, I'm just starting to get a little bit impatient with it. That's all. So, well, look, we're still in that. So if anybody's in it, it's still a legitimate trade. So until this plays out, I can't look for another trade. I don't want to influence anybody in anything else. Okay, so there you have it. Gold is still in play, and we're pretty much well ahead on that one. US yen. Okay, this is the one. This is the one where I feel all the magic may happen. It's been dawdling. Like it had that great move, and it's getting tight and tight and tight, and I just get the feeling from a fundamental point of view, now hang on, listen to this, from a fundamental point of view, that we will get US weakness and it will bring us back down. And the movement downward could be quick only because there are so much dollars, or in other words, there's so many people who are already positioned in long, and as soon as this falls off the edge, a lot of them have got their stops just over here. So all those stops are going to start falling over like dominoes or a house of cards. And think about it. If you entered this position over here somewhere, okay, and you're hanging tight because you want it to break through there and continue upwards. Let me just clear some. So let's say you entered over here somewhere, and you're in profit, but you really want to get through that top level there to go on to bigger things, and it's dawdling and dawdling, and you see it fall off here. What's your instincts are going to do? Instincts are going to kick in. Humans, we do not want to lose this bit that we've locked in. Okay, so depending on where you got in, a lot of people are going to have this thought, I can just feel the market here. It's pure a sense. So what it's going to do is they're going to stop themselves out, which is going to accelerate the movement. Okay, now this is very dependent on the FOMC tone of that statement. Okay, what's Bijan saying? We can put a stop at break even. Yes, some people can, if they've got more tolerance. So let's say if the person started up there, so you can already see even within our own little community here, we have different views of opinion. So if you entered over here, some people will be willing to let this ride all the way down to here. The problem is that other people entered here and here and here and here, so their stops are all in there somewhere, which just gives it that big momentum that I'm really looking for. So in an ideal world, I want bad news for the US. That's what I want. I want bad news for the US, and this is the one that I would trade it against. Let it fall to the floor. When I say to the floor, I think it may be only 300 pips, but that's a good movement. Okay? Now, so that's what I'm really looking for. I'm going to be getting up Thursday, and I'm going to try and play this one out. So, for right now, let me zoom in. If I get a setup over here, oh, by the way, did anybody remember last week where we got 1, 2, 3, 4, we were on this candle last week, okay, and that candle gave us the fractal, and I always forget to check, but we got a setup the other way. We got an engulfing setup. Did anybody trade that? If you did, you should have got something out of it, because your entry would have been here, your risk was there, and this went bigger. That it went more than 1-to-1. Did anybody trade that? I missed it because I tend to always look to the right and I forget to check the candle in front of it. No one's traded it. Okay, all right. So this time we are approaching this floor again. We're getting close. This time I'm not going to do anything until Thursday. So what I'm saying is, even if I've got a setup to go that way, technical setup, on this particular occasion I'm not going to do anything until Thursday, because what I really want is this. Alright, so if you do get a setup here, we get another fractal somewhere down here, and you get a setup to go that way, well, from a technical point of view, yes, it's another trade. The only thing that actually I just saw something now that kind of doesn't support it as much is this. I'll show you, give me one moment. So I'm starting to get a bit of a triangle downward, okay, and it's starting to do this. Now typically the movement will be back up to there, so I guess play it as you like. Alright, I'm just giving you one point of view. I'm waiting for the fundamentals, and hopefully I can get the trade down. Okay? Any questions on this one? I'll just draw a line on my chart so I remember what I was looking for. Alright, let's carry on. Let's have a look at the Euro Yen. Okay, Euro Yen last week we were trying to get a fib level trade off this top line. It didn't come out. The setup didn't show itself, so nothing really happened. So let me get rid of it now. Let's have a look what we got right now. Let me clean this chart up a little bit. I thought I saw something on a 4-hour. Okay, that looks alright to me. And I've got I've got the 2 touches down the bottom, I've got the 2 touches at the top, so we're ready to play. Alright, so what are we looking for? What is this? Where am I looking? This is Euro Yen. 4-hour chart, Euro Yen. Well, okay, this is what I'm looking for. I want this. Oh, this is actually really good. I want this to come into this area here, and I'm going to try and bounce it that way. Now, that area there also corresponds to, oh sorry, I just accidentally deleted all that. Also corresponds to old resistance becoming new support. Okay, so it's an area that I do like, and I am on a 4-hour chart, so please remember that. This is the trade that we're looking for. Does everybody understand this trade, what we're going to be looking for? Is a candle formation where I get a fractal and and that fractal engulfs or an inside candle so that I can trade back up. The question, the daily one looks got a channel too. Yes, it probably will, Bijan. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it's just easier to see it on a 4-hour channel. Oh, sorry, in a 4-hour time frame. Okay, so there we go. All right, so that's what we're looking for. I'm just going to draw a line so that hopefully I'll get a setup in that direction. Is everybody clear on what we are trying to do with the euro yen this week? We want it to come down towards this area, give us a nice price action candle setup so that we can bounce it off the channel and trade upwards. Now, what about if, now remember this, we've had 1, 2, 3 touches already. What about if when we get here, this candle just does this? Are we allowed to do that? Roy says yes. Yes. It's unanimous. Yes, we are allowed to do that. So don't get blindsided of only looking for the one trade. And I can see that some of you are actually favoring the breakdown more. And in theory, the breakdown has more potential, like to give you more profit. The problem with the breakdown is it's a little bit harder to trade because there's a different amount of psychological involvement with the breakdown. The bounce and the use of the fractal makes it an easier decision. The breakdown, when you get a candle like that, sometimes we start to judge how far it went through, etc., etc. It's a little bit more difficult on your psychology. All right, so I'll have a look at it. This could well and truly happen by tomorrow morning. We could be in a trade here. All right, so we're coming into London Open in about an hour's time. So if we get a sharp push down, we're going to be in that kill zone, and then we're just waiting to pull the trigger. Okay, so that's the euro yen. Both ways is acceptable. Just be open to it. So let me, on my chart, it'll probably be down there somewhere, something like that. Okay, Kiwi dollar. Now remember, we said the Kiwi dollar is the one that is the most under the spotlight due to data and policy statements. Okay, so let's have a look. We've been following this wedge. I'm on a daily chart. It's been behaving itself. This one here, oh, very close. We got kind of close-ish. It's too late for us in any case, because otherwise we would have had an entry right there. Is anybody in this trade right now? Because I did draw this set of lines last week. Who's long Kiwi dollar at the moment? Anyone? Okay, Greg is a small position. Okay, this got very close there, and I guess if I started to play around with my lines, I could make it closer. Yeah, I like it where it is right there. Okay, so if you're long, for those of you who are long, your stop should be right here. Okay, so and if you were long based on price action, that's your entry. There's enough room for you even before you get to there to take at least 1.3 out of the trade. Okay, now remember with these daily candles, if you get to the 1.1 to 1, okay, for new people in the room today, what I mean by 1 to 1 is if your stop distance at the point where your trade is in profit by the same amount as the distance that you had to stop, so that's 1 to 1, okay? You should never let a trade go negative, or you shouldn't make a loss out of such a trade. So at the very least, what you can do is move your stop to your entry so that you don't lose anything, or sometimes take a little bit of profit. That's up to yourself how you like to treat it, but there's nothing worse than when the trade's moved 130 pips in the direction that you said, and then you end up making a loss on that trade. Okay, so the break-even point on that trade is about there somewhere, so there's enough room for it to try and get to the other side of this channel again. Alright, now should you be in this trade Thursday morning when all the action is happening or is about to happen, and you haven't been stopped out, and you haven't been hit, your target has not been hit either, you should listen very attentively, and as soon as you get an indication that you got to get out of this trade, just get out. Doesn't matter at what profit level you are at. Okay, so just treat it like it would have been a brand new trade that you were about to enter. Okay, so that's a Kiwi. Let me have a quick look on a 4-hour chart if there's anything significantly different. No, there's nothing there, guys. I really do like this pattern. It's a nice pattern, and to be honest, this is my gut reaction. I get the feeling it's going to come and really break down, and that's the trade that we really want. Okay, I'm going to put a mark on my chart. That's the trade that I think is going to play out. Alright, so there is a lot of Kiwi activity, US activity. I don't want to influence anybody. Okay, if you're in this trade, it is a legitimate. The only thing is it's just a little bit not quite. It didn't quite come down low enough, but it's close-ish. All right. What may happen is if we get to this level, at that up there again, definitely I want to short it if I get an opportunity to short it. Okay, so that one, or from here, that one. Those are the two trades that I'm really hoping play out for me. Alright, does everybody understand what we're looking for? Yep. Everybody's on the same page. Fantastic. Alright, so that's what we're looking for on the Kiwi dollar. Let us move on and let's have a look at what's happening on the Euro Aussie. I love charts that are so clean. Look how clean these movements are. Really like clean moving charts. Strategies tend to work very well on them. It's just like they become a bit predictable, which is good. Alright, on the daily chart, there's nothing. But on the 4-hour chart, as you would have seen, we've got a bit of a triangle happening. I'm just trying to see if I favour any side over the other. What do we think, guys? What would we like to see happen here? I think we're too much in the narrow section of it now. So these type of trades, or this one down like that, I'm not interested in those trades anymore. Okay, because it's getting very narrow. Let's measure it. Let's have a look how narrow we're talking about. So let's say from here to here, there's only 80 pips. So it's too narrow. it really doesn't help us with our risk reward ratios. So that leaves us with the option of breaking up or breaking down. Let's have a look at it and let's see what we think. What do we think? Breaking up or breaking down? Bijan, there's a fishing strip on a 4-hour chart. Is that what you're saying? Okay, I'll have a quick look at that. So what do we think? This is what we can see. The market has come. What's the rule? What's our more favoured break? That's the more favoured break. So if it breaks down, because it's come from up top in this direction like this, if it breaks down, it generally will have more strength and will make the movement quicker. If it breaks up, it may be more like this. Okay, slower. Alright, so in an ideal world, I want the breakdown. So let's look for it. Let's see how it can set up. So it's going to have to be, we're going to need a candle that does this so that we can then take that trade. Give me one sec. I just want to measure something. Okay, now what I want is exactly what I've drawn on that chart, and then if you're aggressive, basically take the trade off the bat as such. Alternatively, wait for a little bit of a pullback and then take the trade off there. Danger is, as always, it may not pull back. Okay, so there you have it. That's the key as the Euro Aussie. It's the only thing that's happening. This one may pop out probably in it could even be in like 6 or 7 candles, which is in about a day's time. Okay, any questions on anything that I've covered today, guys? Let me have a quick look. I'll give you an opportunity to type it in. Let me have a quick recap. Okay, Aussie, as we said, we're just waiting to see how this current candle finishes. That'll give us an entry tomorrow, or we might have to change our plan if it pops too much on that top section there. Euro USD, we're in the middle of the congestion. We just want to wait it out a little bit. GBP USD, I really do like this channel. Hopefully we get our opportunity there, because these are big trades. The movement that we have in there, look, even what I've just drawn there is like a 600 pip movement. Okay, so these are really, really good trades. And in terms of the risks that you're going to be putting out for it, it's very, very low. Gold, for those of you that are still in this trade, it's playing out as per the way it's supposed to. It's met a little bit of resistance there from this old low. It did break it though, so we just really needed to finish out and play down. Okay. US yen. US yen is a trade that I'm looking forward to most this week. That or the Kiwi dollar. And what I really would like to see is I'd like to see it fall out and start to take out all those stops and give me a nice 200-300 pip run downward. Euro yen, we're in a 4-hour channel. It's coming into that hot spot, and we're looking for either a bounce inside or a break below. Kiwi dollar. Again, if we can break down from this wedge, rising wedge, in a downward direction, that should be really good. Now, bear in mind, guys, that this Kiwi dollar trade and the US yen trade, they could correlate quite a lot during that moment of US FOMC, okay? Because they're both very heavily influenced by that decision. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, if you're in one, you may not want to be in both at the same time, or if you do, you may want to size accordingly so that you're not double trading or triple trading. Lastly, Euro Aussie, we're going to watch this triangle, converging triangle, and what we would really like is a break in a downward direction. Now, for those of you who are kind of new, have not seen this, an expected target would be, I usually like to do it at that around about that distance there, so you could get over here. Now, when you get to this level there, sometimes you may want to take something just in case it finds support and bounces back, but the proper target is this one down the bottom. Okay. Any questions? Final questions before we call it a day? Has everybody adjusted to London opening at 5 p.m. Sydney time and new candles starting 7 a.m.? Everybody's aware of that. Both those times that I quoted are Sydney time. So for those of you in WA, your new candle is a little bit early. What is it, 4 a.m. in WA? But you can still look at it as soon as you wake up, and often you still get an opportunity. The candle has not moved that much. It is the quieter period of the market. Okay, all right. If there's no further questions, we'll call it a day. We will do our strategy class on Thursday. We'll dig something up, and I'm going to start being a little bit more active on Twitter, so hopefully you'll start to see some setups from different strategies, also the ones that we call out on Mondays. See how we go. Any questions, just email them through to the Traders Club, and I'll make sure that I respond to you. Other than that, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you Thursday at 3:30. Bye for now, guys.